Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it's time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was Max Effort Bench Press Day, but just a reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. By the way, since these are current and all my informative videos are actually a month old by the time they get here, if you guys could just let me know the quality of the audio here relative to how it's been for the other videos this week and last week, it would be appreciated. But over to the lifting. Today we did the football bar with chains. For those curious, that's 43 pounds of chains. I always get people who are like, how do we know how much the chains weigh? Well, those are 5-foot lengths of standardized American-made 5/8 chain. That means that length of chain is 17.1 pounds, and my lead chains are 4.5 pounds because I weighed them. Pretty straightforward, guys. Multiply that times 2, that's 43. But 295 went up pretty good, plus the chain, so I went ahead and went for 315. I did tap the upright on the 275, so we got the 315, locked it pretty clean. It was a little slow at the top, but we know triceps, again, are a weak link for me. Interestingly enough, I felt it completely in my pecs. But the beauty of my current training is I'm really hammering my pecs hard with all my main lifting. So I'm not worried about my chest. It's getting pretty much DOMs every single one of my max bench days with the work I'm doing, and a lot of times my speed days. So I'm putting the heavier focus on my triceps, but ironically, most of my tricep exercises I still feel in my chest also, if they're big movements. So my chest is definitely getting worked, and it's kind of getting a pump from this. I'm in a deficit. I'm a week into a deficit. Don't feel like I'm really leaner at this point, but I'm tracking and I know what I'm eating, so we'll just take it day by day and week by week. But I feel good. Energy's good. Training's been good in spite of it. So we went ahead and I went with the wider grip board press. I've realized looking at the biomechanics here, trying to do closed grip board press is really not going to work. And I know I need to be able to bench close and wide for maxes, so I can really assess that. And what was really tearing my shoulders up was trying to do rep work with a wide grip. I think if I only stick with trying maxes every now and then, it might be okay. I just can't do any rep stuff at all wider grip. And since I'm cutting out everything in my training to revolve around shoulder health, anything that is even remotely tough on shoulders has been removed. So even for just delt work, I don't care about my delts anymore other than just tons and tons of face pulls. If all my pressing and face pulls don't build my delts up, I don't care. That's all I need to get strong. So what if I end up not having beautiful round capped delts? They'll probably look bigger as I get leaner anyways. So I went ahead and went with this wider grip. Interestingly enough, I felt more pecs than triceps. I didn't even feel my triceps until I got to 315. Seriously, it was chest. My chest was lit up. And what I actually was going to do after this is go to just straight plates for the dips, because I'm like, well, I'm doing these board presses. I don't want to have any accommodating resistance on the dips. I need to make sure I get plenty of weight at the bottom. And man, they were a little bit tough, and you'll see those up next. So I just kept ramping this, doing like sets of challenging 6, like 275, 295, 305 here. And then this was, reasonably hard, but I'm like, I bet you I can get 315. So now that I know I can get 315 for 6 with this, we'll just keep building this up. Maybe next time I'll come in and just work with 315 for all my sets and build work capacity doing this. And for those curious, I'm doing this just for triceps. I'm feeling a ton of chest, but I think what people need to remember is that some of this is going to be about joint angle specificity and specific fibers in my triceps. Okay, I'm not doing this for a general hypertrophy exercise. If I was doing this to get as big as possible and saying, hey, this will get you jacked, that would be a valid criticism. Okay, for a partial like this, just so that people know I am doing this specifically for performance elements and carryover involving specific muscle fibers that are, again, relative to joint angles. I need to make sure all the tricep and even pec relative to my lockout, all of the fibers that work those joint angles are maximally hypertrophied, and everything else is going to be general size, because the dips and stuff will really, really handle my pecs. But I felt this in my chest a lot, which again maybe tells me that the muscle fibers of my pecs that are involved with the lockout, because we're dealing with joint angles, were in need of some extra work. There could be a lot of reasons why my lockouts tend to be weak for benching. Triceps, pecs, everything. But I went ahead and went with I haven't done weighted dips. I've been doing bands. I started light, went with a 45. You guys have seen me do 5x10 with a 55. I got 3 sets of 12, and the first couple were reasonable. You know, I left about a rep in reserve. The third set, because my chest was so lit up from doing the board press, it's like my chest was actually throbbing from that. It hurt. That the 12s were kind of hard, but the third set of 12, when I got to it, yeah, I'm going to wobble over there. Just leave the camera on. It's fine. We don't need to clip these down. I get over there pretty quick. The third set of 12 was almost a grinder on the last rep. I didn't have another rep left. So I got 3x12, and then my fourth set, I was going to debating if I was going to try to do 4 or 5. I got to the fourth set and I only got 9 reps. My pecs completely gave out, and they're finished. That's really all I could do. But that's okay. That's good. That's fine. I'm not marking it as a bad thing. It means that I worked the hell out of my chest. And I think it's just the fourth set. This one I only got 9. So I mean, I'm happy with it. It's just what's interesting is that I did that chain work for the max. Felt all chest, no tricep. The board press, I didn't even feel my triceps until I got to 315. That's why you saw me kind of flexing my elbow to see did I really use the triceps that much? But I really felt the lateral head with the final set. So it's like I've got to get relatively heavy on the board presses to feel that. But if you notice, it did shorten the range of motion when I went away from close grip and I go wide grip. But yeah, the dips, it was fatiguing with the plate. So I'll build work capacity with the 45, and then when we can get all of our target reps, I'll step up to the 55 again. And that'll be a good benchmark to reach towards to get to the 55 for 5 sets of 10, and then take it up beyond that, you know. We can go higher with it. Or even just stop with 10s. I might add weight, just micro load it, and get as strong as I can on sets of 10 with it. But again, not bad. I mean, 3x12 with a 45, considering, you know, what I weigh, not too shabby, especially after having done all that other work. And then we did J-arm presses. Now these I felt in my triceps. Finally felt some tricep work. And I ended up doing around sets of 12, like 5 sets of 12 with the J-arm presses. The first set, not so much. It took me a bit to get in the groove. After that, I really kind of had to get my elbows in the right position to really hit those triceps. But then I finally felt on the second through fifth set, really felt the medial and the lateral head. And I think on the last 2 sets, as I pretty much got to the last rep, those heads were throbbing. They were lit up. I didn't really have another rep left. So they were pretty much limit sets for me. But again, had to get that tricep working because my triceps really need the work. They need to grow. And I've been hoping all this other stuff will help them grow too. You know, it's like, man, board presses, that should work. Dips, those are great tricep movements. But I don't feel really the stimulation that I should, and I know they're not giving me enough work. But the J-arm press is, and it is targeting the part of the tricep that I'm really hoping to also hit with the board press, which I think as the weight goes up, it'll become more pronounced. But the main thing is that I've got to build the work capacity through that range of motion so that I can hit those good lockouts and really hit all the accommodating resistance lifts. And a lot of people will be like, well, why does that matter? Because those are my testers to know where my real strength is. You know, and a lot of people can argue about that, and they can argue about, well, the specificity of training, but look how many guys, even at a place like Westside, who train even for shirted benching. How many guys do they have who just, when they throw a t-shirt on or a tank top, can lay down and bench 500 plus pounds? Whole lot of them. And we're still doing full range of motion work, but it is going to be biased towards the lockout. And again, it also gets you used to handling heavier weights in your hands. It also gets you used to using more tricep and things like that, which we need to do. And again, prevents overuse injuries. Right? We just get a lower rate of overuse injuries if we do stuff like bands and chains for all of our heavy work. We do stuff like board presses, and then we limit to certain exercises where we do the full range of motion to make sure the pecs and the triceps and everything get strong at the bottom, particularly the pecs. But we can do a lot of that with supplemental work. Because at the end of the day, it's just about force production and maxing out with the other stuff and getting your technique down more than anything, and learning to grind. To build the actual strength from the bottom, any hypertrophy exercise will do that, and the dips work really, really well. Right? Absolutely, I'll use the dips for that. And I'll keep using the dips for that. But at this point in the workout, it is triceps. And the JM press is really what I think I need right now to get those heads growing. Because I've done tons and tons of long head work all for the last year, and it hasn't really given me the lockout strength I need on my bench. And we have to just accept the fact that a lot of the great powerlifting coaches and strength coaches are right. Focusing on the long head, again, great for bodybuilders, not necessarily going to make you stronger. Because it's called the lazy head for a reason. So the lateral and the medial head, I really have to beef those up, and we can tell that they're tremendously underdeveloped. Look how small my arm is on the tricep by the elbow. Okay? That is why my bench is only 335. Okay, that is why. Right there. That real estate right there needs to grow a lot. Like even those JM presses, right, they're doing what, 115? That needs to be, I need to be able to replicate that with the same form, with a full plate per side or more, with the same reps. Okay. Those board presses, those don't need to be 315 for that. Those need to be like 365. They need to be 405. That's what needs to happen. Okay, I've got to build that up. The inverted rows. My work capacity is up on these. I think it's all the hammer curls I'm doing is helping. I went ahead and decided to do more reps. The first one I got to 12, and I realized I did 6 by 12 last time. Let me just crank these out to fatigue. And I got 18 on most of these, around 18. I didn't really count past a certain point. So like 18 on most of these. So I did my 5 sets of something like 12 to 18 reps. And I think even the last one I got 17 or something like that. So work capacity's up. Work capacity's up. And again, it's probably me having been doing these high rep hammer curls. Again, it will possibly bring up the arms a weak length there, get it stronger, so that we can do more volume on this, more reps even with my body weight. But again, I've also gone through my whole adaptative phase with this of dealing with the DOMs and the rear delts and everything. And it's a great rear delt exercise. So I think for me, the inverted rows, the face pulls, all this stuff, this is all I really need at this point for shoulders. A lot of there are coaches who argue that you don't even need to do side delts at all. I've seen some respected names out there say, look, it just tears your shoulders up. And you get enough carryover. If you do enough rear delt work and enough pressing, it will carry over. You'll get enough. And I think the face pulls are a good example of that, because we know the face pulls technically hit the side delt. Based on all the literature we have, band face pulls hit them as hard as anything else. Well, I'm doing them on my off days. So I'm trying to get 10 sets in, just during my active recovery days and stuff. So if I'm getting 10 sets of the face pulls at least, pretty much to failure. And I'm going with heavier bands so that I'm hitting about 12 to 15 reps to failure. You know, I do 10 sets of these inverted rows, 10 sets of Pendlay rows. You know, that'll make sure my rear delts catch up. That should catch the side delts up as well, because my rear delts do need more work. And then we did the hammer curls. I'm pretty tired by this point. And I noticed after doing the inverted rows with no break and doing really short breaks, I can't get as many reps on the hammer curls. Yep, there you guys can see everything, the fat, the loose skin, where I'm at right now. And I actually appreciate it. I had a number of people chime in and say who've actually have lost a lot of fat, that they wish they only had the amount of loose skin I have. You know, I had a couple of people, 2 people say that in the comments. If you guys check that video I did the other day about this, which actually I made it a month ago, so I think I put it up yesterday. Actually said they wish that they had this little. So that actually, it's like, wow, okay. I mean, I have a friend who got his after 170 pound fat loss. He had the surgery and everything. So yeah, fair enough. And I think I just get leaner again, so it'll tighten up. I've got to drop 15 pounds of fat. You know, and that's what we'll do. And I think that'll solve a lot of that. But yeah, there it all is. So the hammer curls. A lot of people are saying, why are you doing those instead of other curls? Mainly because I don't have to deal with any issues of tendon inflammation. There's no tendon inflammation because there's no supine grip. It works the forearms, also works the brachialis well, still builds the bicep, and it's doing so in a way that should carry over to all my rowing. I want my bicep training to serve more than one purpose. Yes, it needs to make my biceps bigger and stronger, but I want all the muscles of the arm to grow, and I want it to carry over to my rowing, right? I need to get stronger and have better work capacity at all my rowing. And since I've been doing the hammer curls with really high reps the last week or two, what are we seeing? My work capacity is going up on all my rowing. Well, that's the desired effect. That's what we want. So we want to keep that moving forward so that everything grows. But I'm happy with today's workout. I felt it was really productive. Happy with the max lift. Happy with the way everything went in spite of a calorie deficit right now. So we'll just keep pushing, keep improving. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.